Hello and welcome to our second tutorial video on the CARES 5.0. This video will be covering the CARES setup wizard for your company profile. To start the company profile first time, all you got to do is double click on your CARES 5.0 once you have your CARES installed. Here we go, we're clicking on the icon. It's going to come up and you're going to have quite a few options here. This is just basically the first time you log in. It comes in kind of configuration window. Most people will have Microsoft Access. Most of our systems are smaller centers that just use a single installation, and those typically use the Microsoft Access. Your larger centers will use SQL Server or MySQL Server. Typically, I would speak with a IT guy, and we would already have your system installed, so you wouldn't be worried about this part of the installation process. However, if you are going through this for the first time, it comes up with this screen. Some centers, normally this is a new feature, it's our pre-configuration centers. What it does, it allows us to pre-configure some of the settings that will be needed to connect with the host database. With these different centers right now, we only have 4 centers that are have elected to do this. I'm sure we'll have a lot more over the next coming weeks, as this is just a new service. Once you have your host set up, this defaults to the where the Access database is installed to right from the beginning. All you should have to do is click on Save Settings and Proceed. We'll go ahead and do that. Then we come up with the company setup wizard. We're going to go ahead and let's just say that this is a school system, and we'll call it Brown County School System. We'll just call it 110 North Prairie Street. We'll just call this Hendricks, Minnesota 56136. You can see right away that the system has enough information to continue, but I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit further. Obviously, this is the phone number for your company, the fax number. Those are good to put in there for sometimes if you get an error message in the system. The system will allow you to email us that error message, and it would have a phone number that we could contact you at. Here we have a business type. What that means, whether you're a school, facility, home, other, and the criteria that are used for searching and for naming conventions will change upon that. Right now, you probably won't understand what that all means, but basically, in this case, we're going to be a school. We'll probably, if we do ever want to do searches, we're going to want to be able to search on the different schools, especially if we're a school district, and then classrooms within that school. We're going to name our clients probably students. We've been in this business for a while. One thing we've seen is these naming conventions change typically every couple of years, especially when it comes to clients. And when we first started out, they were clients. Then they became individuals. Now they're students. Just different centers and different locations will use different naming conventions. So this allows you to be flexible about doing that within your company. Our system is capable of running about 90% of the system on system variables. What that means to you is that our system is very configurable to your way of doing business. We don't expect you to change the way you do business to match our application. We try to get our application to change to the way that you do business. I've got all my information here, so I'm going to go to click this forward arrow to move to the next step. I'm going to add schools in here, and I'm just going to call it Ivanhoe, and I'm going to call it Dubrook. And I'm going to go ahead and add a classroom to my school. Here I'm going to add classroom A, and we'll just call this Dub for Dubrook, and we'll go classroom B, Of course, you can do anything that matches your needs better. The one thing you can't do is I don't like that. I'm gonna change that. Double clicking on it will remove it. Now I'm gonna go to Ivanhoe. And I'm gonna put uh, well, I'll put classroom B. A and Ivanhoe and C. Ivan. So as you can see, I can put my classrooms in my different schools. And I'm also going to just to show you what happens. You have to have a classroom for each school. Let's say we'll call this Watertown. And we haven't added any classroom to that. If I try to hit next, it's not going to let me do that. So I'm just going to remove that Watertown. Now I'm safe to move forward. There we go. Now these are group assignments. Again, this is another area that really won't come clear to you until we get into the administration panel, but I'll just kind of briefly go over to it. What it allows you to do is with administration groups, instead of assigning groups to an individual, you attach a individual to a group. What that allows, what we've typically found with the centers out there, there's a lot of turnover. Uh, then it makes it a lot easier to administrate in groups than it is in the individual. We'll go more into that when we get into our administration video. I'm going to add a couple groups here. I'm going to add Dubrook as a group, and I'm going to add Ivanhoe as a group. And if you recall, those are our two schools. This is a report footer. That's going to be in every report. It's a confidential statement. So this is a confidential statement. So for legal purposes. So you can have a confidential statement on every report that basically states that the name of your company, if you want, and what legal ramifications someone might run into if they share data that they are being witness to in these reports that are being printed out or saved as PDFs and emailed out to different various people in your organization. I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. Now I'm going to create a company ID. I am Fred Schmidt, so I'm going to go Fred Schmidt. You can set the user ID to like maybe a social security number or something like that, or maybe the last 4 digits of a social, or some type of company ID that you might have for your staff. For me, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Username, I'm going to go Schmidt. Password, I'm going to go Katana 2003. Katana 23. Now I'm going to move forward. What it's going to do now is put together a report for me. We found is before we wouldn't do this report, and people would always forget what they added as a username and password. So now you have the option when you go to print or to finish your setup, you can print off this report, or you can save it to your desktop, which I'm going to do as a PDF. All your reports have this ability where you can print them off to Crystal Reports, PDF, Excel, Rich Textments, Word, whatever. I'm going to do PDF, and I'm going to call it login info. I'm going to go ahead and put it right on our desktop. There we go. And now that that's done, I'm going to go and click on finish. Don't want to print it, so I'm going to have to cancel that, otherwise it would print it for you. Now it's going to bring me up to the login screen. My username was Schmidt. My password was Katana 2003. I should be able to click OK. Presto, we are now in the system. That concludes our setup wizard. The next video will be a general overview of our system. We're just going to kind of go over all the different icons, what they do in general.